Hello, y'all. This is Set to Achieve. Happy Sunday. Welcome to yet another video. And today, the title of today's video is Look Before You Leap. Okay. Please, if you're new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, share, leave your comments. And guys, let us get to it, guys. A lot of marriages, guys, is not what it seems. There's a lot of crap going on in a lot of people's marriages, and it's really sad. Yesterday, I went to one of my clients, um, and I've not seen her for a long time. You all know that I used to do a lot of hair, but I've done a lot. I do it a lot less, like maybe once in a while, just for a client, just like for a favor, because um, it was beginning to impact my back. I've done it for a long time. I've been doing hair since I was a teenager. So now I'm branching into other things. I do delivery, as you all know, and I'm always trying to scale and do other things, look for other opportunities, to be able to get passive income. But nonetheless, yesterday being Saturday, I went to her house to do her hair. I was doing her some feeding braids, and she had some alopecia and things like that. But I was, um, you know, trying to do her hair, whatever. And we got to talking, as we normally do. You all know what your style is, you kind of get conversations and whatnot. And she asked me how I was doing. She knew that me and my ex, husband, whatever, were separated. So she knows, my story or whatever. And she asked me, if I got back with him, or I'm like, no, that's my past. And so she started talking about herself. I didn't even know that she was having problems with her husband. These people were they've been married for like over like 40 years. Yeah, because she's 71, you know? And then she's like, me and my husband are not good. And I'm like, what happened? And she's like, yeah, um, that. So they took a trip like a few months back, maybe last year, to go see her sister because her sister stay in Florida, whatever. And so they took a trip. And what happened was, um, during that time, her sisters. So she's a pastor. Okay, so she's a pastor. And but she doesn't currently have a church, or whatever. So she's trying to look for to get one. But anyway, so she took a trip with her husband to go see her sister. She has many sisters, several like sisters. So she went to go see him, and when they were there, whatever, the sisters were like, loosen up a little bit, have a little wine, and she's like, no, I don't drink wine, and they were like, just loosen up a little bit, we know you're a pastor or whatever, but once in a while you can take a little wine and loosen up, it's gonna be helpful, whatever. So she's like, all right, fine. So she took some wine. I think she took a little bit more than probably she should, because she really, really got loose. And like I said, she was with her husband, and I guess the way they were doing it is like, I don't think they have joint accounts. I think everybody has their own, everybody has their own separate accounts, their own separate retirements, separate everything, just like the way it was with me and my ex. And long story short, she just opened up her bank and showed him all her information, and how much she's been saving. And I don't know all the details about it, but it was like he was like, huh, okay, you know. And she said that she noticed that he started acting strange after that scenario. Okay, so he started acting strange, and she was like, she didn't know, but she was like, whatever. So long story short, things kind of started changing between them, and then she let me know that um, recently they have been like living like separate lives. As a matter of fact, while I was there, and she was telling me that she didn't tell anybody this, And while I was there, he came in and he was real quiet. He didn't say a word to her, guys. He came into the kitchen, opened the fridge, searched around or whatever, and went into his room. There's a room. His room is right across the kitchen, and he just went in there and closed the door. He didn't say a word to her. He didn't say a word to her. And because he came in right when I was about to dip the ends of her hair. When you braid the hair, you dip the ends in hot water. He didn't say a word to her. He just went to the room and closed the door like she wasn't even there. And she was like, yeah, that's the way it's been. So it was really sad, like, to see. And I was like, me being almost 42, I was like, I thought it was people our age going through this. I didn't know it was people married. But um it was sad. And she was like, hey, that, I mean, like, if he wants to go, if he wants to, if he decides to go about his business, like, he doesn't want to be married anymore, that's fine. It is what it is. And she was like, as a matter of fact, they have an only child, and who's 27. And she's like, she told her daughter that, hey, listen. She called her like the week before, like last week, and she told her like, hey, your father and I might be going our separate ways. And she was like, her daughter was bawling and crying, and she was like, get yourself together, okay? Don't break yourself over. I mean, you're grown. You're a grown woman. You have your own job. You have your own life. Don't break yourself apart because of my relationship. Go on with your life. Be happy. Live your life. And she's like, her daughter is kind of collecting herself and or whatever. But yeah, she's and she's like, I mean, she's like, I've cried all my tears. She's like, she's been crying to her sisters, and they've been comforting her. As a matter of fact, one wanted to like, um, come and like, talk to the husband. She's like, please do not talk to him. Don't say a word to him. And she had to beg her sister not to talk to him because she was like, gonna come and be like, why are you mistreating my sister? And she was like, no, don't say nothing to him. This is my issue. Don't. So, guys, all that glitters is not gold. Um, especially in these times that we're in, these last days that we're in. A lot of marriages, a lot of people are not who they display themselves to be. A lot of people are self-centered, and then she was like, so she went up to him and she drank a little wine or whatever. I guess she, recently, and then she went up to him and like was like, you know, what is up, and then he started like bringing up stuff about the fact that like just like grasping for straws. I remember the time that I wanted my nephew to come and you said no, and then she's like, well, your brother and his wife stayed here like right before that time, or no, right after that time, that you wanted your nephew to come. Your brother and his wife had stayed here for like 6 months. I just wanted us to have some time to ourselves. And then she's like, well, and then he's like, well, I let your brother stay. And then she's like, well, I told my brother no, and you called him back and told him to come stay. So that was your fault. And just like grasping for straws. Well, what about when you did this, and what about when you did that? And she was like, recently she heard him on the phone, and he was on the phone with another woman, and he knew, and then he lied that it was his sister, and then she was like, she wasn't going to call to verify, I call his sister because she wasn't going to be petty like that. Call his sister like, hey, did you actually, were you the one speaking to my brother? I mean, to my husband or whatever. And then she was like, I mean, just so messy. And then she was like, he kept leaving, like, like if she comes somewhere, he would go to another place, and then and then she heard him whisper, to her that he loves her. So he knows that. So she knows that. So she went up to him and like confronted him, and he was like, and she's like, like, are you cheating on me? Like, who was that woman? And he was like, oh yeah, it was my sister. And then she was like, no, it was not your sister. And then he made up some story, that it was, you know um this, that whatever, but she knew it was lying. um and I just felt so bad for her because I'm like, you're 71. And she's like, yep. That like she decided, like, even though she had retired, there are some bills that still needed to be paid and whatnot. So she got a job at a grocery store. And then she was just telling me about the job and how everything is going, whatever. That she might leave that particular job because there's some like a lot of like um petty issues and things, and like the manager is always like yelling, and like the manager's her cousin. A lot of people talk about her. A lot of people don't know that the manager's her cousin. So they talk about the manager like a dog to her. And it's just like it's really messy, and she wants to leave. And it's just like, long story short, guys, it's crazy. Look, guys, a lot of marriages that are long term, and it really kind of like goes hand in hand with the video that I did. And guys, if you ever watch my video, Great Divorces, why so many great divorces, go ahead and, go to my, go on to my channel, my video archive, and go ahead and watch that video. A few videos ago, I did a video talking about great divorces and why a lot of people that are older are getting divorced. Because a lot of people see elderly people, maybe their parents, maybe their aunties and uncles, and they see that they've been married for so long, but they don't know that they've been going through hell in that marriage. They don't know that, they've just been trying to patch things together, and make it work, quote unquote. And then she was saying that, hey, the house is in her name. Hey, that if he leaves, that as a matter of fact, she told him go, that I mean, he can go if you want to go. He can go ahead and go. That the house is her name. That she'll just get somebody else to keep paying the bills or whatever. Maybe get somebody else to come start living with her. Maybe a roommate to kind of help her with some of the bills so that she can. But I mean, it is what it is. She's hardworking, and she's like, I'm still a beautiful woman, And hey, I'm just not gonna be seeing somebody while I'm still with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that. That's just not who I am. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. If you want to go about your business, if you want to, move on, move out. Because if I felt so bad, or if I felt like I didn't want to be with you, then I wouldn't stick around and be making your life miserable, ignoring you all day, giving you the silent treatment. I would leave. That's a noble thing to do. And then we can work out how we can, end the marriage. Like legally or whatever. But I wouldn't sit here. And I told her, and I told her that, something like, I told her, you know what, I think that God arranged this time that for me, because it's been months since I did anybody's hair. I told her I believe that, you being a woman of God, and myself being a woman of God as well, um, and a believer in Christ, I strongly believe that God arranged this time, because he knows that I understand, what it is, especially because a lot of the things that she was saying, it sounded like narcissistic abuse, it sounded like emotional abuse, because it's like, and I told her like what I went through with my ex, him like literally like, lying, like when we had a counseling or whatever, marital counseling with the pastor of our church at the time, like just grasping for straws, talking about, and remember what you did in 1994, when you I wanted to I was somewhere trying to, you didn't pick me up. Remember this, remember that. Just, and it's like, this is things that have been resolved how many years back, and you're grasping for straws. So it's like, or lying, or bringing up all this crap that is like, all the things that I'm bringing up right now, I'm talking about related to you, is stuff that's happening now that you're doing now. I'm not going back to what you did in 2010, because that doesn't matter, So it's just like, if somebody wants to leave you and somebody that does not love you, then, they will be grasping for straws. They'll be looking for any reason, because it's like she said, he's already talking to another woman, So it's like, he's tired of you. Maybe he's tired of the situation. Your only child is in her 20s, 20, almost in her 30s, and so it's like sometimes maybe he's having a midlife crisis. Maybe, whatever, because she's like, he has his own account, and I don't ask him how much he has in his account, whatever. So why should that be? I'm like, that's exactly what it is. It's like, you know he probably just want to move on, and then she's like, well, if he has felt this way for so long, why latch onto me all this time? Why not just have left? Why not just leave me, or like a long time ago? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, a lot of times, especially when you're dealing with men, men are not like women. Men will stay for convenience. A lot of times they'll stay. They don't like the marriage. They probably don't even like you or like your kids, but they'll stay because you're a good cook. They'll stay because at least you clean the house up. They'll stay because at least you're hard work. Like, she's hard working. She's 71 years old, getting a job. And doing all this and trying to start a church and all this. So she's a go getter. So don't nobody want to leave a go getter. And because he don't know what is out there, so they will stay for years in a relationship that they are uncomfortable in, because it's convenient. They'll have their side chick, they will have their this or that, but they'll stay with the wife because at least she'll pay the mortgage, or part of the mortgage, or she will cook and clean, take care of the kids, or whatever. and I can just have my, my little side, whatever. So it's I'm very sad. I told her I'll be praying for her, which I will be. But it's just like, you know, I mean, if you're someone that maybe is unmarried, or someone that is, looking to, maybe you have people that, you have around you that you're like, oh, they've been married for 50 years, 60 years. Guys, in this day and age, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter because a lot of people are going through a lot of really tumultuous, and really lonely marriages. Okay, so make sure if you are looking for a mate, make sure that you are vetting these people, and even if you vet them, make sure that you're not with someone that you're not equally yoked with, because when you're talking about marriage, long term and all of that, is it's for a long time. It was supposed to be for a long time. In this day and age, I don't know, but it's just really sad when you see um, an older person, going through a lot of pain, and I know she's still going through a lot of emotional pain, even though she was trying to hide it. It's just like, you're someone that you've had a child with, and you built a life with. And she told me that she stayed 7 years with him, dating before they even got married. And she was married once before, um, when she was much younger. But it's just like, um, that's all I have to say, guys. Look before you leap. That's the name of this video. So, look very well. Don't just jump into any relationship or situationship, marriage or whatever, with someone that you don't really know. And just and I'm a strong believer in open communication. If you feel a certain way about somebody, or about something that happened, talk about it. You know, especially as the man in the relationship, talk about it. Don't just sit there and be holding on this grudge, because how is that godly? That you're living, you're sleeping, you're eating with somebody, driving their car probably, or whatever the case may be, sleeping in the same bedroom, and you are holding all this malice. That is, you know, that's wrong. So, um, yeah, I think that's crazy. So, guys, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Um, yeah, leave your comments. Maybe similar situations, maybe around you or in your own life, and you want to share. Maybe it might help somebody else. Okay, guys, like, subscribe, share, leave your comments, and until next time, God bless. Happy Sunday.